Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of my Megapark. Now in the last episode I made this Morgan Hypercoaster called Steel Serpent, and in this episode I want to work on the area surrounding it. Now one thing I found out when I looked at the thoughts of the guests is that while many really like the roller coaster, there's also a lot of people who cannot find the coaster. And using this feature over here, you can look on the map and see where the people who cannot find the coaster are. A lot of them are just here in front of the coaster. I think they're about to find it. But a lot of them are also here in the Egypt area. So if you look here, we can actually see a lot of people walking here. A lot of them are heading for Steel Serpent. The Egypt area is kind of a dead end here. So what I will do is I will make a path out of here in this direction, and then probably guests should be able to find the coaster again. Alright, that's what I will do first. Okay, we can immediately see a lot of guests walking here on this path, and a lot of them are heading for Steel Serpent. So yeah, I think this will definitely increase the attendance for this coaster over here. Alright, something else that I forgot in the last episode was to actually make a platform for the brake run. So that's also something I will do now. Now, as you can see, there's a ride type that I really like to use for these brake runs, and that's the mini golf. The station works really well as a platform for a brake run. Okay, you can see the underwater area here also still looks a little bit blocky, and just like I did here in the area on this side of the map, I should also work on the water area here. Before I do that, I want to make the beach here a little bit wider, and only after that I'll work on the underwater part. Okay, it's time to do some landscaping under the coaster. I already started with it for a bit. Yeah, something you should be careful with. What I sometimes see people do is that, sometimes I see people who have supports like this, and then they start to place trees, and then I find trees like this right under the supports. Really, people, when placing trees, don't place them under your supports. It looks really silly. But thankfully most people actually see that it looks silly. Now I will just place some plants beside the coaster here, and I'll try to leave a little bit of space next to the supports. Now the reason I'm adding this water in this bridge here is because this is a rather unuseful stretch of land next to the path. I can't really think of any interesting to add here. The space is really too small for a coaster. I could put a shuttle loop, but it would really be invisible behind this coaster. So to make this area look a little bit more interesting, I just added some water and a bridge. And yeah, that should make it look a little bit nicer. Okay, I've now laid out a path here on the beach. I'll probably make some buildings along the beach here. Maybe some arcade games, maybe a beach club or some food stalls. Actually, I'll probably make them here. But yeah, for now I'll keep the path here, but later on I'll probably make it invisible, and then it just looks like the guests are actually walking on the beach rather than on this brown path. Now, something I also kind of want to make here is sort of a lighthouse, and I think I'll use a spiral slide for that. Now here's a trick that I really like to use. So I built a launched freefall tower, and instead of using the tower, I'm using the platform pieces now. And that's what I'm using to make this little queue area right next to the spiral slide. I think it works really well. I like it much more than the normal queue and normal path. And it also works on the tile where the entrance and exit are. Okay, yesterday I made these sloped sections on the supports, but I did not do that on the steep sections. Well, obviously you cannot have these fences be any steeper than this, but it generally looks a lot nicer when you also put sloped fences on top of these supports on the steep section. So that's what I will do on this coaster. Okay, I've made a little food shack here called Copacabana. And now that I think of it, we probably have a lack of toilets in the park. And I think we have space for another one of these over here. So let's take our tree of life. It's actually getting used a lot by the guests, as you can see. So I think we can use another one of these. So let's copy it and paste it elsewhere. Now this one probably will not be as used as much, because this area is not as crowded. And I'm not sure guests will actually pathfind towards it, since it's a copy of a different ride. But we'll see if any guests end up using it. Looks like we have our first customer. Anyway, like I said, these paths over here, they will probably be invisible later. But for now, it's just useful for me to see where these paths are running, just so it's easy for me to make buildings next to them. Alright, I think that's enough building for this episode. So yeah, I mostly did decorating around this area. I relayed this path, so guests have an easier way at finding the Steel Serpent. They no longer get stuck in the Egyptian area. This path here is temporary. Later I will probably relay it as I theme this area here in the middle. I'm not sure yet what theme I'm going to give it. This will probably be a really rainforesty area. I think it will go well with the themes of the areas around it. So probably a bit of a dense jungle here. I think that will look cool. Other than that, I mostly did decorating on the area right next to the coaster. So yeah, did some landscaping, made some rocky hills, put some plants around the coaster. Some more rocky areas here. In the area right next to the coaster here, I made some water with a little bridge over it. Just because I thought the space was a little bit small to add extra rides here. I mean, I could add flat rides here, but they would be really in the middle of nowhere. I also added a little path here, which leads to this spiral slide called Lighthouse. It's really popular right now just because it's new. The queue is really short, so most of the guests heading towards it will actually head back again to another ride. And of course I made this little food shack called Copacabana. I think I'll add an extra roof here. Alright. And some extra seats. I'll add a lily pad to serve as a table. And we probably also need a fence on the back side, so guests can't fall off and get run over by the coaster. That would be quite painful. Alright, that's it for this episode. Decorating usually takes a lot of time. Like I said, the path will be invisible later, then it will look a lot better. But yeah, I want to add some more stuff to the beach later, and then it will be useful for me to see where the path is actually running. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Decorating usually is a lot less spectacular than actually creating a new coaster, but it definitely is worth doing because it will of course make the area look much more finished. Alright, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I'll see you again in the next one. See you later.